William Carter adjusted his tie and took a deep breath. The massive doors of the Galactic Council chamber loomed before him. This moment would change human history forever. As Earth's first ambassador to the stars, he carried the hopes of 8 billion people on his shoulders. "Ready, sir?" asked his assistant, Frank Miller. "As ready as I'll ever be," William replied with a slight smile. His voice was steadied despite his racing heart. The doors slid open with a soft hiss. William stepped into a vast circular room. Alien representatives from 27 worlds sat in tiered seats that rose like a giant bowl. Some looked almost human. Others were so strange that William's mind struggled to make sense of their forms. In the center stood a single platform. William walked to it, his footsteps echoing in the silence. Hundreds of alien eyes followed his movement. He could feel their stares, some curious, some hostile, most cold and calculating. "Ambassador William Carter of Earth," announced a mechanical voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. "You may address the council." William cleared his throat. "Distinguished representatives of the Galactic Council, I bring greetings from Earth and the human race. We come in peace, seeking friendship and knowledge." A low murmur rippled through the chamber. Near the top tier, a large reptilian being with red scales leaned forward. This was Ambassador Krev of the Vargan, the most powerful military force in the known galaxy. "Pretty words from a species that has spent its short history fighting itself," Krev said, his voice deep and rumbling. "We have watched your kind for centuries. Your technology advances quickly, but your wisdom does not keep pace." William had been warned about the Vargan. They saw every new species as either a threat or a resource. "We have made mistakes," William admitted, "but we learned from them. Humanity has much to offer in exchange for your guidance. Our art, our music, our unique way of solving problems." From another section, a shimmering cloud of what looked like blue fireflies formed a rough humanoid shape. This was the collected voice of the Zeth, a hive-minded species. "The human mind is interesting." The Zeth spoke in perfect unison. "Individual yet connected, chaotic yet purposeful. But your ambitions concern us. 3 colonies in 10 years since discovering faster-than-light travel. You expand too rapidly." William had prepared for this criticism. "We seek new horizons, not conquest. Our colonies are peaceful settlements on uninhabited worlds." The ancient Morvani delegate, a being so old it was said to remember the first council meeting, raised a withered hand. "You say this now when you are weak. What will Earth say when it is strong?" The questions continued for hours. William defended humanity as best he could, but it was clear that most of the council had already made up their minds. Humans were dangerous, unpredictable, and needed to be contained. As the session ended, a slender figure approached William. Unlike the others, this alien had kind eyes. Its skin shimmered like mother of pearl. "Ambassador Carter, I am Kyle Czar of the Tellery," the alien said softly. "Not all see your kind as a threat. My people would speak with you privately." For the first time that day, William felt a spark of hope. "I would be honored." Later, in his private quarters, William recorded a message for Earth. President Montgomery. The council reception was mixed at best. The 3 major powers, Vargan, Zeth, and Morvani, clearly see us as a problem to be managed. But I've made contact with the Tellery. They seem genuinely interested in alliance. William looked tired but determined. "There's something else." During the session, I noticed several delegates exchanging looks when colony expansion was mentioned. "I believe they're hiding something. I'll investigate further, but proceed with caution. I sense danger beneath their diplomatic words." He didn't know it yet, but William Carter had just 6 more days to live. 6 days passed quickly. William Carter spent every waking hour meeting with different alien representatives. The Tellery proved to be valuable allies. Their ambassador, Kyle Czar, shared information about council politics that no human could have discovered alone. The council fears what they do not understand, Kylzar told William as they walked through the garden level of the massive space station. And humans are very hard to understand. William smiled. We often don't understand ourselves. That morning, William prepared for his most important meeting yet. The council had finally agreed to discuss technology sharing, a small victory after days of resistance. Frank Miller checked the ambassador's communication device. Your secure line to Earth is ready, sir. President Montgomery will be standing by during the entire session. William nodded. Let's hope we have good news to report. The council chamber was less crowded today. Only the senior representatives attended. William noticed that the Vargan delegation seemed tense, their red scales slightly darker than usual. The Zeeth cloud pulsed with unusual patterns. As William began his presentation about peaceful technology exchange, the chamber doors sealed with a heavy thud. No one else seemed concerned, but William felt a chill run down his spine. Earth has much to offer, William continued, pushing aside his unease. Our medical advances in cellular regeneration could benefit many species, while your faster-than-light technology would help us. A flash of light cut through the air. William felt a sharp burning sensation in his chest. He looked down to see a small hole in his suit, right over his heart. The pain hit a moment later. As William collapsed to his knees, chaos erupted in the chamber. Some delegates fled while others shouted accusations. Through blurring vision, William saw the Vargan ambassador watching without emotion. With trembling hands, William activated his emergency communicator. Earth, this is Carter. I've been shot. He coughed, tasting blood. They're planning to. The device exploded in his hand, sending shards of metal into his palm. William fell forward onto the cold floor. His last thought was of Earth, so far away and unaware of what was coming. Admiral Olivia Reeves stood on the bridge of the USN Valiant, Earth's newest warship. Although impressive by human standards, the Valiant was small compared to the vessels of established galactic powers. Admiral, her communications officer called. Urgent message from Earth Command. Olivia turned from the viewport. Put it through. President Alan Montgomery's face appeared on screen. The usual confidence in his eyes was gone, replaced by something Olivia hadn't seen before. Fear. Admiral Reeves, Ambassador Carter has been assassinated during negotiations at the Galactic Council. Olivia felt her blood run cold. What? When? 30 minutes ago. His last transmission was cut off mid-sentence. He said, they're planning to, and then nothing. Orders, sir. Bring the fleet to full alert. All ships are to return to Earth immediately. Olivia nodded. And diplomatic channels. We've demanded answers. The Council claims they have no idea who killed Carter. They suggested it might have been done by humans to create an excuse for military action. Montgomery's jaw tightened. They're lying. The security footage from the council chamber mysteriously disappeared, and the Tilari representative who was meeting privately with Carter has vanished. This was planned, Olivia said. I agree, but planned by whom? And why now? Montgomery looked even more troubled. There's something else. The Long-Range Observatory in Luna Base reports unusual energy readings from multiple points at the edge of our solar system. Something's coming, Admiral. Olivia turned to her crew. Battle stations. Recall all personnel immediately. Navigation. Plot a direct course to Earth. As alarm klaxons blared throughout the ship, Olivia stared at the stars beyond the viewport. Somewhere out there, an enemy had made the first move in a war humanity didn't know it was fighting. We'll be ready in 10 minutes, Admiral, her executive officer reported. Make it 5, Olivia replied. I don't think we have much time. She didn't know how right she was. In less than 3 hours, the skies above Earth would go black. Dr. Samuel Hughes looked up from his computer as the lights in his lab flickered. Outside the windows of his research facility near Denver, the afternoon sky had been clear blue moments ago. Now it was turning dark, as if a storm was rolling in. But this was no storm. "Susan, are you seeing this?" He called to his research partner. Dr. Susan Baker joined him at the window. As they watched, the blue vanished completely. The sky turned black. Not the dark blue of night, but a deep, unnatural black that swallowed the sun. "What the hell is that?" Susan whispered. Samuel grabbed his phone to check the news, but there was no signal. His computer lost its network connection at the same moment. "It's happening everywhere," said a voice behind them. They turned to see Paul Jenkins, their security chief, holding an old radio. Reports came in just before communications went down. New York, London, Beijing, Sydney, all reporting the same phenomenon. Then silence. Samuel felt a chill. For 3 years, his team had been studying alien technology recovered from a crashed scout ship. They had learned enough to know how advanced the galactic powers really were. "It's them," he said quietly. "The Council. This is a blackout field. They've isolated us." Susan stared at him. "But why? What happens next?" Before Samuel could answer, the facility's emergency generator kicked in. A bank of screens lit up, showing various camera feeds from around the perimeter. On one screen, they could see their small satellite dish still functioning. "The hardened systems are working," Samuel said. "Quick, try to contact any orbital platforms." Susan rushed to the communication station. After several tense minutes, she looked up with a mix of fear and hope. "I got the Hudson station. They're still up there, above the blackout." An astronaut's voice came through with heavy static. "Can see it from here. Some kind of energy field covering major population centers. It's expanding. Military satellites are going dark one by one. Is anyone receiving? This is Dr. Samuel Hughes, Advanced Research Division. We read you. Doc, it's not just Earth. The colonies on Mars and Europa report the same phenomenon. The moon base went silent 10 minutes ago." Samuel exchanged looks with Susan. "This is a coordinated attack. They're cutting us off before they move in." "Who's they?" the astronaut asked. "The Galactic Council. They must have decided humanity is too dangerous to allow into their community." Samuel paused, thinking rapidly. "Can you still see any of our ships?" "Negative. Wait, yes. The Valiant just appeared at the edge of our sensor range. They're moving fast." Hope surged through Samuel. Admiral Reeves was bringing Earth's flagship home. But would it be enough? "Try to contact them," Samuel instructed. "Tell them." A loud explosion shook the building. Paul Jenkins checked the security cameras. "We've got company," he announced grimly. 4 unmarked aircraft just landed in the East Field. Figures deploying. They don't look human. Samuel made a quick decision. "Susan, keep that channel open. It might be our only link to our forces up there. Paul, initiate lockdown protocol." "What are you going to do?" Susan asked. Samuel opened a secure cabinet and removed a small device, the result of 3 years studying alien technology. "I'm going to send a message. Before they attacked, we were reverse engineering their communication systems. This prototype can punch through their jamming, but just for a few seconds and with a very simple message." "To who?" Paul asked as he activated the security shutters. "Everyone," Samuel replied. "Every radio, every cell phone, every computer still functioning under the blackout. One message to let people know what's happening." As alien footsteps echoed in the hallway outside, Samuel connected the device to their backup power supply. He typed quickly. "Earth under AThey. Aliens, real. Government now to silent by choice. Resist." He pressed send just as the lab door began to melt under an intense energy beam. "Now we fight," Samuel said, picking up the only weapon they had. Another piece of modified alien technology. "And we hope someone out there is listening." Captain Nathan Brooks floated silently in the command chair of the USN Hawkeye. The small scout ship had powered down all non-essential systems. They drifted in the shadow of a moon orbiting Proxima Centauri, Earth's closest colony world. 3 days ago, Nathan had watched in horror as the sky above the colony turned black. Then strange ships appeared, dozens of them, with designs unlike anything in human records. "Status report," Nathan whispered to his second-in-command. Lieutenant Grace Martinez pushed away from her console and floated closer. Still no contact from the colony. "The alien ships are patrolling regular routes. They haven't detected us yet." Nathan nodded. The Hawkeye was designed for stealth, but they couldn't hide forever. Sooner or later, they would need to move or run out of supplies. "What about the quantum transmitter?" Grace shook her head. "Something's blocking it. I've never seen interference like this before." Nathan looked at the main screen, which showed the colony through powerful telescopes. The once busy settlement was now eerily still. Alien ground forces moved through the streets. "They were ready for this," Nathan said quietly. "The attack was too coordinated, too perfect. They knew exactly where to hit us and how." Grace's eyes widened. "You don't think this just started with the ambassador's death, do you?" "No." Nathan pulled up a star chart on his personal tablet. "Look at these reports from the past 6 months. The mining outpost at Baldwin's World, destroyed by an asteroid impact. The research station in the TRAPPIST system, lost due to life support failure. The survey team at Ross 128, vanished during a solar flare. You think those were attacks?" "I know they were." Nathan's face hardened. "My brother was on that survey team. He sent me a message the day before they disappeared. Said they found evidence of recent alien activity in an area supposedly unexplored by any council species." Grace stared at the screen. "So the war started months ago. The council has been picking us off, one isolated outpost at a time, testing our defenses, learning our weaknesses. The assassination was just to distract Earth while they moved their main forces into position." The ship's engineer, Ben Lawson, floated into the command center. "Captain, I found something interesting. While monitoring their communications, I picked up references to something called Operation Sundown. They keep checking the status of something called blackout nodes." Nathan and Grace exchanged looks. "The devices creating the blackout field," Grace said. Ben nodded. "And here's the thing. They're worried about them. I'm still learning their language, but they keep using terms that suggest concern about power consumption and stability." "A weakness," Nathan said, hope flaring for the first time in days. "Grace, you were working on modifying our quantum transmitter. Could you reconfigure it to analyze one of these nodes?" Grace thought for a moment. "Maybe. If we get close enough to one, I might be able to determine its operating frequency. But we'd have to break cover. Worth the risk." Nathan turned to his crew of 7, all that remained of humanity's presence in this star system. "If we can find a way to disrupt these blackout fields, we give Earth a fighting chance." He pointed to a small moon on the star chart. Long-range scans showed unusual energy readings from this area before everything went dark. "I bet there's a node there." "That's dangerously close to their patrol routes," Ben warned. "I know." Nathan's face was grim but determined. "But we're not just running and hiding anymore. As of this moment, we're at war." Grace looked at the colony on the screen, then back to her captain. "Even if we figure out how to break the blackout, how do we get word to Earth?" Nathan smiled slightly. "One problem at a time, Lieutenant. First, let's find out what makes these things tick. Then we'll worry about delivering the message." As the Hawkeye powered up its systems and slipped away from its hiding place, Nathan Brooks had no way of knowing that back on Earth, people were already fighting back. Colonel Jack Wolfe had been retired from the Marines for 3 years when the sky went black. He was tending his small garden in rural Virginia when it happened. Unlike most people who panicked, Jack watched calmly as darkness fell in the middle of the day. "So they finally came," he said to himself, putting down his gardening tools. Inside his cabin, Jack opened a locked chest and pulled out his old uniform and sidearm. His instincts told him what was happening even before he turned on his battery-powered radio and heard the broken emergency broadcasts. 2 weeks later, Jack led a group of 30 civilians and former military personnel through the woods outside Washington, D.C. The alien peacekeepers had taken control of major cities within days of the blackout. They claimed to be protecting humans from a dangerous government that had been planning wars against the Galactic Council. "Hold up," Jack whispered, raising his fist. The group stopped immediately. Ahead, an alien patrol moved along the road. 6 tall figures in dark armor carried weapons unlike anything Jack had seen during his service. "They're heading for the supply depot," said Ellen Park, Jack's second-in-command and a former Army Ranger. "Just like our intel said." Jack nodded. "Let's move." They waited until the patrol passed, then crossed the road quickly and silently. Their target was an abandoned shopping mall the aliens had converted into a command post. Jack's group needed medicines and communication equipment. "Remember," Jack told them, "we're ghosts, in and out without a sound." But as they approached the mall's loading dock, a woman in the group gasped. Through the windows, they could see humans working alongside aliens, helping them sort through Earth supplies and technology. "Collaborators," Ellen whispered angrily. Jack studied the scene carefully. "Maybe. Or maybe they're just scared. Either way, we stick to the plan." As night fell, Jack's team slipped inside through a service entrance. They moved through dark corridors, avoiding patrols. In what had once been a pharmacy, they'd found the medicines they needed. But the real prize was in the former electronics store. "Look at this," whispered Lisa Donovan, a college student who had shown surprising courage since joining Jack's group. She pointed to strange devices connected to Earth computers. "They're using our own systems to monitor us." Lisa's brother Kyle, who had been a radio engineer before the invasion, examined the equipment. "I think I can disconnect some of these without them noticing. Maybe even use them to listen in on their communications." Jack gave them 10 minutes while the rest of the team stood guard. When they were done, Kyle carried a small alien device wrapped in cloth. "What did you find?" Jack asked as they made their exit. "Something better than we hoped for," Lisa said, eyes bright with excitement. "The aliens are using Earth's old radio infrastructure to control their ground forces, but they modified it in ways they thought we wouldn't understand. The good news is," Kyle continued, "I think we can disrupt their signals with equipment from our dad's old ham radio shop. The bad news is we'll need more parts." A sudden explosion rocked the building. Alarms blared. Jack's team ran for the exit as alien voices shouted orders. "So much for being ghosts," Ellen muttered. Once safely back in the woods, Jack did a head count. Everyone had made it out. As they marched through the darkness, Lisa explained more about what she and her brother had discovered. "The aliens think they've outsmarted us by using our own technology against us. But that's their mistake," she said. "We understand our tech better than they do, and it gives us a way to fight back." Jack smiled grimly. "Find me what you need. If we can disrupt their communications, we can coordinate with other resistance groups." "There's something else," Kyle added quietly. "While I was in their system, I saw reports about some research facility in Colorado. The aliens are very interested in it. They keep mentioning someone named Dr. Hughes." Jack stopped walking. "Samuel Hughes. I know him. We served together years ago. If he's giving the aliens trouble, we need to find out why." For the first time since the sky went black, a real plan was forming. A way to strike back against an enemy that thought humanity was already defeated. Captain Nathan Brooks and Lieutenant Grace Martinez floated in their spacesuits outside the USN Hawkeye. Before them hung a massive satellite, twice the size of their ship. Its dark metal surface absorbed light rather than reflected it. This was one of the blackout nodes they had been searching for. "It's beautiful, in a scary way," Grace said over the comm. Nathan didn't answer. He was focused on the task. They had little time before the alien patrol ships returned to this sector. "The energy readings are strongest from that central hub," Grace said, pointing to a sphere in the middle of the satellite. "That's where we need to place the scanner." Carefully, they propelled themselves toward the hub. The surface of the node was smooth, with no obvious entry points. Grace attached a small device to the hull and activated it. The scanner began collecting data immediately. 5 minutes until we have a complete analysis, she said. Nathan surveyed the stars around them. We may not have 5 minutes. Let's split up. You monitor the scanner. I'll check the other side of the node. As Nathan moved around the massive structure, he noticed something strange. A smaller ship was docked on the far side, hidden from their initial approach. It wasn't like the other alien vessels they had seen. This one had sleeker lines with a shimmering, pearl-like hull. "Grace," he whispered into his comm. "We're not alone." Before she could respond, a panel opened in the side of the strange ship. A figure emerged in a spacesuit. Nathan reached for his sidearm, then froze. The being raised its hands in the universal gesture of peace. "Human," a voice said in perfect English through his comm. "I am Kylzar of the Tellery. We have little time. Your friend's scanner will alert the node's automated defenses." "How do you know about our scanner?" Nathan demanded. "Because I have been studying these nodes for months," the alien replied. "Please, bring your companion. We must talk inside my vessel." Nathan hesitated, then called Grace. Minutes later, they both entered the airlock of the Tellery ship. Inside, they removed their helmets and faced Kylzar. The alien's skin shimmered like mother of pearl, just as the ship's hull did. "You were with Ambassador Carter," Nathan said, recognizing the alien from briefing photos. "You disappeared after his assassination." "I did not disappear. I fled." Kylzar's large eyes blinked sadly. "I knew what was coming and tried to warn William. He was a good man, a friend." "What is happening?" Grace asked. "Why is the Council attacking us?" Kylzar moved to a console and brought up a holographic display showing star systems and movement patterns. "It is not the entire Council. It is a faction led by the 3 major powers, Vargan, Zeeth, and Morvani. They fear a prophecy that is centuries old." "A prophecy?" Nathan asked skeptically. "Our seers predicted that a young species with unusual creativity, when given access to advanced technology, would quickly surpass all Council races. The major powers believe humans are that species." Grace looked at the display. "So they decided to wipe us out before we could become a threat." "Yes, but it is worse than that. The Vargan have been pushing for this war for years. They arranged Ambassador Carter's assassination and convinced the others to support a preemptive strike." "Why are you helping us?" Nathan asked. "Because the Telari believe in the prophecy, but we do not fear it. We have watched humans for centuries. You solve problems in ways no other species considers. Your adaptability is remarkable." Kylzar touched a control, and the scanner data appeared. "For example, your lieutenant has already discovered what took my people months to learn." Grace studied the readings. "The nodes use a resonant frequency to create the blackout field. If we could generate a counter-frequency, we could disrupt the entire network," Kylzar finished. Nathan felt hope rising. "Can you help us get this information to Earth?" "Better. I can help you implement it." Kylzar showed them another display. "But first, we must reach these coordinates. There is someone else working against the Council, someone who has been gathering allies from non-Council worlds. Together, we may have a chance." "Who?" Grace asked. "Another Tellery. My father. He commands a small fleet beyond Council space. But we must hurry. The invasion of Earth is only the beginning of their plan." Dr. Samuel Hughes looked at the faces gathered around him in the underground bunker. Colonel Jack Wolfe had arrived 3 days ago with his resistance fighters. Their journey from Virginia to Colorado had been dangerous, but Jack insisted it was worth the risk. "So you're saying we can break the blackout?" Jack asked. Samuel nodded. "Thanks to the Donovan siblings." He smiled at Lisa and Kyle. "Their discovery about the radio frequencies was the final piece we needed." The bunker had once been a backup facility for Samuel's research team. Now it housed 27 survivors, Scientists, soldiers, and civilians united by a desire to fight back. "Explain it again, for everyone," Jack requested. Samuel pointed to a diagram on the wall. "The aliens created the blackout using satellites that generate an energy field. These fields block communications and darken the sky. But they made a critical mistake. They built their system on top of Earth's existing satellite network." Kyle stepped forward. "The nodes send control signals using modified versions of our own radio frequencies. We've figured out how to interfere with those signals using specific electromagnetic pulses. The problem is power," Lisa added. "We need to generate pulses strong enough to reach the satellites. One small transmitter won't do it." Jack looked thoughtful. "What if we had lots of small transmitters, all working together?" Samuel's eyes widened. "A distributed network. Yes, that could work." He quickly made calculations on a notepad. "If we could activate enough transmitters simultaneously, all tuned to the right counter frequency, we could create gaps in the blackout," Susan Baker finished. She had survived the attack on their research facility and helped Samuel escape, just long enough for communications to get through. "And for our military to see what they're up against," Jack added. Hope filled the room for the first time in weeks, but practical problems remained. "How do we coordinate this?" asked Ellen Park. "We need to reach resistance groups across the country, maybe the world. And we need parts to build these transmitters," Kyle said. Before anyone could answer, a radio on the table crackled to life. They had set it to scan emergency frequencies. A woman's voice came through the static. "To all resistance cells. This is Admiral Olivia Reeves of the USN Valiant. If you can hear this, stand by for important information." Everyone stared at the radio in shock. The voice continued. "Our ship remains in orbit beyond the blackout field. We have made contact with friendly alien forces who oppose the Council's actions. They provided critical intelligence about the blackout technology." Samuel grabbed the microphone. "This is Dr. Samuel Hughes. We read you, Admiral. We've been studying the same technology." After a moment of silence, Olivia's voice returned, filled with surprise and hope. "Dr. Hughes, the President will be relieved to hear you survived. We've been trying to contact any surviving research teams." "President Montgomery is alive?" Jack asked, taking the microphone. "Colonel Wolfe." "Yes, the President and key military leaders evacuated to the secure facility under the Rocky Mountains. They've been planning the counteroffensive, but without communications, coordination has been impossible." Samuel and Jack exchanged looks. This changed everything. "Admiral," Samuel said, "we've developed a method to disrupt the blackout temporarily. We need to coordinate with all resistance groups to create a distributed network of transmitters." "That aligns perfectly with the intelligence we received," Olivia replied. "A Telari representative named Kyle Czar provided similar information. He's currently with Captain Brooks of the Hawkeye. They're heading to Earth with more detailed specifications." "We need to time this perfectly," Jack said. "One coordinated strike when our forces are ready." "The President has already authorized Operation Daybreak," Olivia said. "We have dormant military assets in orbit, appearing disabled, but actually waiting for the signal to attack." "How soon can Brooks and the Telari get here?" Samuel asked. 3 days, if they avoid council patrols." Jack stood straighter, his military bearing returning fully. "Then we have 3 days to prepare the biggest surprise party these aliens have ever seen." For the first time since the skies went black, Earth was ready to fight back. 3 days passed in a blur of activity. Across Earth, resistance groups built transmitters using the designs shared by Kyle and Lisa Donovan. Captain Brooks and Kyle Czar arrived safely, bringing detailed specifications that Dr. Hughes used to perfect the disruption signal. The morning of Operation Daybreak was eerily quiet. In his underground command center, President Allen Montgomery looked at the assembled leaders. "Is everyone ready?" he asked. Admiral Reeves nodded from the video screen. Her ship remained in high orbit, coordinating with other surviving vessels. "The fleet is in position, sir, all appearing damaged or disabled, just waiting for the signal." Colonel Wolf reported next. "Ground teams are ready. Every major city has at least 3 transmitter groups." Dr. Hughes checked his watch. 1 hour until we synchronize the pulse. Everyone felt the weight of the moment. This might be humanity's only chance to break free from the alien blackout. President Montgomery squared his shoulders. "Begin the countdown." Across the world, people prepared. In London, farmers hid transmitters in hay bales. In Tokyo, office workers placed them in abandoned skyscrapers. In Rio de Janeiro, children carried them into the hills above the city. On the USN Hawkeye, now docked with the larger Valiant, Lieutenant Grace Martinez made final adjustments to the master signal. "This will work," Kyle Czar assured her. "Your people have accomplished in days what most species would need years to develop." Grace smiled nervously. "Let's hope the Council thinks the same way after today." In Washington, D.C., Lisa and Kyle Donovan crouched on a rooftop overlooking the National Mall, where alien ships had landed. Their modified radio equipment was connected to a network of 20 smaller transmitters hidden throughout the city. "Ready?" Kyle asked, his finger hovering over the activation switch. Lisa checked her watch. "Almost time. 3, 2, 1. All across Earth, at exactly the same moment, thousands of transmitters activated. They sent precisely calibrated electromagnetic pulses toward the blackout satellites. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then small points of light appeared in the black sky. The points grew larger, becoming holes in the darkness. Sunlight streamed through, touching Earth for the first time in weeks. In orbit, Admiral Reeves gave the order. "All ships, this is Valiant Actual. Operation Daybreak is go." I repeat, daybreak is go. Dozens of human vessels that had appeared damaged suddenly powered up their systems. They launched a coordinated attack against the surprised alien fleet. On the ground, people looked up in awe as the battle became visible through the holes in the blackout. Streaks of light shot across the sky as human and alien ships exchanged fire. In the Colorado bunker, Dr. Hughes watched on monitors as the blackout continued to break apart. "It's working better than we calculated," he said with surprise. "The field is collapsing completely in some areas." President Montgomery turned to Captain Brooks. "Now we show them what humanity is really capable of." The president activated a global communication system. His voice reached every functioning receiver on Earth and in orbit. "People of Earth, this is President Montgomery. Today we fight back. The aliens thought they could silence us, divide us, conquer us from the shadows. They were wrong. Stand together. Resist. Humanity will not fall today." The message reached the alien command ships too. For the first time, doubt crept into their plans. They had expected a quick, clean subjugation. Instead, they faced unified resistance from a species that refused to surrender. In orbit, Kyle Czar watched as human ships outmaneuvered the larger alien vessels. "They fight with remarkable creativity," he told Captain Brooks. No Council strategist predicted these tactics. As the blackout satellites failed one by one, communications returned worldwide. Military bases reactivated. Civilian networks came back online. Communities organized. The Vargan commander sent an urgent message to the Council. "Humans more dangerous than anticipated. Request immediate reinforcements." But the Telari representative to the Council stood up in the emergency session. The prophecy was right. Today the Council witnessed what we have always known. Humanity's potential is limitless. This illegal war must end. Other Council races began to question the invasion. As the first day of the counterattack ended, humanity had not won the war, but they had achieved something just as important. They had shown the galaxy it would not be conquered quietly.